I actually thought, I was like, all right, this is probably it. Like I think I did well enough here. Like I'm not like bluffing myself up or whatever. And they told me like, all right, they were like, all right, like we're gonna move you out the hotel, bring your suitcases with you to training. So I was like, all right, like thank God, thinking like thank God. So I go to training, I train, I got my suitcase in the locker room. I have a meeting with the manager after, and he's like, yeah, like we're not gonna sign you. And I was like, oh, like, so that what they did, they just took my suitcases and they dropped me off at the airport, and I didn't have like a flight, I didn't have nothing. And I just was like, all right, like, and I just, bro,
Oh, you're
and that was
lying.
like, yeah, I swear to God, bro, like, and like, and that point, that was like the lowest of the low for me. Like I was sitting in the airport and like I was too embarrassed to call my parents.
Yes, sir. I'm your host, Leroy, and welcome back to The Insight. But before we start, could you make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for any new content that will be coming your way very soon. But without further ado, enjoy the pod. And now you finished college, or now you're trying to advance your career. Talk to me through draft day. Where were you?
Draft day, yeah. I mean, like for me, like I think for me, like I've always obviously wanted to go pro, and like I'm a pretty driven person, and like I probably hold like a higher expectation for my, maybe I shouldn't be where I'm at, but I always kind of push myself to do as much as I can. So, but I think going into draft day, like I kind of try to be realistic, and obviously, as going in and even being invited to the combine and being on the draft board and stuff like that, you're thinking that, oh, like I really want to go top, and obviously I was, still like a young, naive, like professional prospect kind of thing, and before you kind of learn the pro game and how stuff goes down. But yeah, for me, like I was in Corvallis and I just watched it with my homies and stuff, and like I think I went second, like mid second round or something like that, so it wasn't on television, but I just watched it because like my boy went number 2, Kyrie went to New York, so that was sick because I'm like close friends with him and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, I was, internally you're disappointed because you want to be like, oh, like I deserve to be up there. But at the same time, the fact that, I got drafted and got an opportunity to just go to camp and stuff is something that, you kind of, it humbles you a bit. But yeah, I got a call from Dallas the next day, and they said we're drafting you and stuff. And then things moved pretty quickly. I think I flew out 2 days after, something like that. But yeah, it was.
There's a pretty quick like transition through everything. You said like 2 days and you're out.
Yeah, it was strange because they were like, all right, we drafted you, like, well, we've got the flight for this date. Can you make that? Like, if not, like we need to reschedule right now. And so it was a pretty quick turnaround. Luckily, like I was living pretty light in college, so I just only had like one suitcase or whatever. But yeah, it was like, they called, and then it was like within a couple of days, like I'm landing in Dallas and they're picking me up and I'm in the hotel kind of thing. But yeah, it was like that was the first like experience into like, pro sports and kind of, you're on their schedule kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, talk me through like obviously now you've landed in Dallas. Like how are things like happening? How did you like were they sorting out everything? You're staying at a hotel, training, like how was that experience? Yeah. Walk me through it.
Yeah. No, it was good. I mean, Dallas, like, they're a big MLS club too, and so that they had us in a hotel, and I was staying with another guy that got drafted. It was actually Junior Hoylett's brother, Jaleel. So I was with him in a hotel room, and the hotel was right behind the stadium. So we just walk over for training in the morning, and we got per diem and all that kind of stuff, and it was good. I enjoyed the preseason, like with Dallas. Like obviously I didn't stay there, but just being able to get my toe in and kind of experience, like, all right, like this is a professional preseason. Like obviously it was tough, the fitness and the standards and stuff like that. I think, I mean, in my mind, like I think I did enough to stay, but at the same time, when I look back, obviously I could have done way more. Like, and it was weird too, because like at that time, like I was coming out of college season, and I kind of had like an injury, not like a full injury, but like like a little like nagging injury, and it was one of those things where it's like I can't stop training, or I can't stop right now because then it'll just be over. So I kind of like was playing through this preseason with like kind of like this injury, and I think back maybe obviously like in hindsight, you have all the answers, but it was just another factor, like something that you learn and stuff. And I was kind of like had that mindset. It was like my body is in bits right now, but I cannot stop training and stuff like that. So like, But no, it was good. Honestly, I enjoyed being at Dallas, and like, I got to spend like, a long preseason under Oscar Pereira. Is at Orlando now, and he's an unbelievable coach and stuff. And some of the players at Dallas at the time were just like some of the best players I've ever played with. Just like absolute ballers, bro.
What was the biggest play difference that you like saw when you left college, like football, and went into like the preseason? Obviously, it wasn't a game, but like you can still kind of see what the levels are like.
I think the biggest thing for me is like, and like I, always think about this now whenever you go up a level is like when you left college, right? Like, um, usually like all the guys that left college were like, first team Pac-12 or first team this or All American this. Like when you get to like that next level or where step, everybody is first team this or All American that. But like, and like I think too, like, when you're in college, you have more, some people are strong, some people are fast. Everybody's strong and everybody's fast and everybody is good on the ball and everybody, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe like something that set you apart when you were down a level going up, you have to up your game in all your other aspects to be able to, just even keep up kind of thing. So I think that's what the thing for me is like, there was like, for example, there was a guy in Dallas named Mauro Diaz, like he's small number 10, he's Argentinian, and he was an unbelievable player. And he was small, but he was strong, and he was fast, he was unbelievable on the ball. And I'm thinking like, I'm just like looking at myself like I'm fast and strong but like I need to be better on the ball. Like I need to do that because it's like I'm looking at this guy play and I'm just like I can't even get near him. You know what I mean? So it's it's just one of those things like you have to really up every level, every facet of your game. You can't just be good at one thing because everybody's good at something when you go to the next level. So
No, true, I hear that. So after you didn't like make it through the camp, what was your next step from there? Like, what were you thinking? Where was your head at?
yeah, I mean like at the time, like when I left Dallas, and like I said, like that this whole first year was like my first experience in terms of like not the politics, but like the whole like how the pro game goes, so like I'm getting told by Dallas, oh, we really like you, like this and that, and I'm all right, like yeah, I want to keep you, and then once season started, they let me go, kind of thing, and that's when I the cogs started to click of like, oh, like that's the pro game, like it's not just go out and play, it's like you got to. So at the time, like I just kind of was talking to my agent, trying to get trials at other USL teams. I went to Rochester. And at the same time, like I'm still playing like through this injury, so it was just like
Oh, no.
rough. My confidence is like because I went to Rochester and I thought I did all right. Obviously, didn't do well enough for them, and like at this point too, like it's just like different facets of the game that you're like learning. You know what I mean? Because it's like I'm going to Rochester and I'm thinking like, all right, I'm good enough to make this team. Like I can make this. But then like being a young naive pro, I'm like, all right, the USL season starts soon. They've got their roster already. They're looking for like one, maybe two play. You know what I mean? So like, but I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking like, all right, I'm good. I'm better than what they have. Like they should sign me. Whereas like I'm not thinking like they already have a bunch of people in my position. They're not gonna, you know what I mean? So like, so I'm going there and then like they let me go and then like I went and trained with Charlotte and stuff. And like everywhere I'm going, like I'm getting told like no, or like no, we're not feeling you, and I'm moving on and stuff. And like my confidence is just like, man, like maybe I'm ass, dude. Like maybe like I'm not like maybe this is not for me kind of thing. And like I think my rock bottom was like I was at Charlotte and like I was there and I trained. To be honest, like I actually thought I was like, all right, this is probably it. Like I think I did well enough here. Like I'm not like bluffing myself up or whatever. And they told me like, all right, they were like, all right, like we're gonna move you out the hotel, bring your suitcases with you to training. So I was like, all right, like thank God, thinking like thank God. So I go to training, I train, I got my suitcase in the locker room. I have a meeting with the manager after, and he's like, yeah, like we're not gonna sign you. And I was like, oh, like so that what they did, they just took my suitcases and they dropped me off at the airport, and I didn't have like a flight, I didn't have nothing, and I just was like, all right, like, and I just, bro,
Oh,
and that was like, yeah, I swear to God, bro, like, and like, and that point, that was like the lowest of the low for me. Like I was sitting in the airport and like I was too embarrassed to call my parents. Like I did not want to call them because I was like, I'm a complete failure. Like I probably sat in that airport for probably like 5 hours just like on the floor. I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, so like that, like kind of 3/4 of a year going from Dallas to like Rochester to another USL team to like Charlotte, like it was like a real like gauntlet of fire, like into the pro game for me kind of thing. And I just was like, I don't know how you want to do this. So like, it was a big like wake up call / like learning experience for me. Cause I was like, man, like if this is like what is part of the pro game, like, do I want to put myself through this like on the regular, like every year or whatever? So, but I look back now and it's one of those things like I can like kind of laugh at, but at the same time, I always like use it as motivation because it was rough, but like, it is what it is kind of thing.
Yeah, no, bro, that's mad. I don't even know how to move on from that. That's mad.
No, bro, like honestly, like I tell people that and they're like, bro, how? And I'm just like, to this day, I can recall every detail that day because I was like, yeah, bring your suitcase to the train. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna move in, I'm gonna sign, whatever. Like, and then I'm not gonna sign. And then they were like, oh, do you need a ride to the airport? And I was like, I don't even have a flight. And they just didn't even say anything, they just dropped me at the airport. And I just was like, and that was it. But like, it's one of those things. It's like I said, it's a harsh reality that I'm sure like other people like me have, other professionals or whatever, people who are trying to become pro have gone through because it's dog eat dog. You know what I mean? So.
And I hear that one loud and clear. So like, where did you go after that? Like, what was next after that moment when like you were there? Like, what did you do after?
Yeah, like I said, it was like low for me because I was, mentally I was like, man, like I don't want to do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love soccer, but like, god damn. So I spoke to my parents and like I would just decide I was like, I'm gonna go back for the summer and just like kind of do some more classes at Oregon State. And just like I just went back to living in the same apartment like with one of my best friends, like when I left to get drafted. And I just went back, and this is when I was playing PDL for Lane. So like I just reached out and I was like, listen, like I have had a pretty tough year. Can I come play PDL for you guys for the summer? But and they were like, yeah, sure enough. And so I was just doing classes and playing PDL. And honestly, it was more of just kind of like mentally, just kind of like unwinding a little bit and kind of because like a lot of my friends from college were still there, so it was kind of just decompressing a bit. And like at this point, like I'm still talking to my agent. Honestly, my agent at this point, I don't even know if he's going to give me a call back because he's probably like, this guy is like down tools. Like, this guy's not going to do anything for me. Like, but yeah, so I just played PDL and then I got a call. My agent got a call about Alan Koch at Whitecaps 2. They were interested. And I'd played against Alan a couple of times in college and stuff. And because he was coaching a Canadian school and we played him in preseason friendlies. So he gave me a call and then yeah, I just went up there and I think I signed like the day I was up there. And then, yeah, I was just, so it was just like relief. Because at that point, I think I was so like scarred. I was like, even when I signed, I was like, thank God, it wasn't even like happiness. It was just like relief. I was like, oh God. But nah, it was a quick turnaround, like things can change quickly. So.
No, for sure. That is the game in general, man.
Oh, 100%.
How was your time at the Whitecaps?
Yeah, it was good. I think like like Whitecaps, like first of all, like big city, Vancouver is like an unbelievable place. So like lifestyle wise, it was just like kind of like a holiday for a couple of years. Like it was just best place I've ever lived, and I always kind of do that sell to like friends and family. Like if you ever get to go to Canada, go to Vancouver. But like football wise, it was good. It was good for me probably just to step in to be like on Whitecaps too and get to train with like the first team and stuff. To kind of like not like ease myself in, but something where it's like, all right, like I've had these experiences like at Dallas and stuff, like I know what I have to do now kind of thing. Like, but it was good. I had a good few years there, like, was a regular starter there. And, I think we got conference finals one year. Like we were one game away from like USL championship the second year. But it was good, a lot of good players and stuff. And, I really grew as kind of like a young professional kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Obviously things are going great, but then now they fold. Like, what happened there, man?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was because it was kind of like, you hear like rumors of it kind of thing, but I think it was like a lot of clubs are doing now with their like USL 2 sides. They're either putting them in like League One or they're just kind of
Mm.
making like the affiliation type things or whatever. But yeah, it happened pretty quick. I mean, like they had a meeting with us and we're like, listen, like this is what's gonna happen, and they were kind of telling guys like who they wanted to keep or who they wanted to like send on loan or whatever. And I think they, because I think it was like me and a couple other guys were American older guys that they kind of were like, yeah, you can look elsewhere. And then like they obviously kept a lot of their younger Canadian players and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like I there was no like obviously like I was trying to get a first team deal and they were kind of interested and stuff, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I had no qualms of like leaving and stuff, just because I had already like had an interest in offers elsewhere. So I was kind of at this point I'm kind of like I'm in the door like professionally game wise, so I'm kind of like get my feet and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of happened quick and then ended.
That's good. At least you're like now like in there and getting your feet wet, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
then you transitioned to FC Cincinnati. How was that? How did that come about?
Yeah, so basically it was the coach at Whitecaps, he had left and I think he got a job as like technical director or something at Cincy,
Oh, shit.
um and then I think when he was there the head coach got fired or left, and then he just kind of stepped in and took the head coaching job, and then it was just something where he kind of kept in contact and then he wanted me to go there kind of thing. So it was pretty smooth. Like it was like kind of went there and through obviously that link, and that was like kind of the first kind of thing for me, and like in the pro game of like who and kind of if you know a manager and he kind of likes you, like you're probably going to get a good look and stuff like that. But yeah, it's something worked in my favor, and that was 2000. What
17.
year was that? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so
Yeah, like I guess you after that you went on a loan spell. Like how did that come about? Like were you playing or like how was that
yeah,
time?
I mean, like Cincy, like to be fair, like there were like so many good players at Cincy. Like it was a lot of like just established like American professionals like that played in America for a while and stuff. And like I thought I had done well enough there. And I mean, to be fair, like I probably know I'd done well enough there, but again, like there's a lot of politics going on at Cincy, just like with
Mm.
just them transitioning to MLS, and there was like just a lot of stuff going on that's like it
I've
is what
heard
it
them
is. And
stories.
that,
I've heard them stories.
yeah, but there's just a lot of stuff that's like, I think opened my eyes to like, all right, like that's the pro game, like you have to go in and do your job on the field, but then also you kind of have to navigate just all these different little like battles and just kind of like BS like off the field, and how you navigate that is, so, but like to be fair, like I did well at Cincy, like personally, like, obviously I stayed a good professional and trained and did everything I needed to do. And the games I played, I did all right. But there were just a lot of good players there, like, Richie Ryan, Michael Hood, Lance, a lot of like established veterans I'd played that, I would understand. I was probably one of these guys on the team, so I'd understand that, that's how it works kind of thing. But yeah, I never kicked up a fuss. And yeah, they kind of like worked out the loan thing to Reno and stuff. And yeah, that was ended up being pretty good for me. So
Yeah. How was your time at Reno? Because I'm guessing you signed for them after, right?
yeah. So I was there. I was on loan end of Cincy's season. It was, I think it was July to August is when I went to Reno. Or no, I left in July or end of July or something, and then I was there until the end of the season. But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed working for Ian Russell. I thought he was a great manager. I really liked the way he like did stuff, and I liked the staff there, and a lot of really good players, like, and like good club and how they did everything. And that second year I was there, I guess like first full year I signed there, like I really enjoyed it. Like got to play with a lot of really talented players, and it was just it was different playing for a manager that kind of he was very clear with how he wanted stuff done and what he expected of you. And he never pulled any punches with if you're doing well, hey, keep it up, or if you're doing badly, hey, like god damn, like come on, like what I mean. So that's, I think, if you ask any player, that's all they want. They just want it to be told, like where you stand instead of kind of being held in the dark. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I we had a really good year. And I think, Reno last few years too have kind of had this habit of being one of the best teams regular season and then just kind of like falling a bit short in the playoffs. But yeah, no, it was good. I really enjoyed it. And Reno was like a nice place. Like the weather was like crazy good too. So
Really, where is Reno?
it's Nevada. So like it's like
Okay.
but it's like right on the border of California and Nevada. So it's probably like 2 hours from Sacramento, like if you drove. But like in the winters would be like really cold and like real snowy, but in the summer it'd be like
Nice.
90 degrees every day. Like it was unreal.
Talk to me about being on loan somewhere, because I feel like being alone can be kind of tricky sometimes, because like when you first go there, you know you're going there for like a short time. How is it? How did you find it like gelling with teammates and kind of getting yourself comfortable enough to then perform quickly, if that makes sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, no, those are, I mean, like you said, those are all like things that you kind of got to take into account. I mean, for me, like for me, I guess every player is different. You know, some players they look to go on loan. Some players are, forced out. Like, and some players don't. Like when I was at Cincy, I was happy to just stay and finish out the year and kind of like, even if I wasn't going to touch the field, just because like my girlfriend was there, my mom was out visiting, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a loan move that I didn't really want to do. Um, but at the same time, it doesn't. I think if you're a good professional, regardless of the circumstances of how it comes about, you still got to show up and train every day. And like off the field, mentally and personally, like, and you can ask like, my friends that I'm still friends with now, like Brian Brown, Lindo, and stuff. Like, you can like when I was on my loan spell and I was in the hotel there, you did not see me after training. Like anything off the field, you did not see me. Like I was in my hotel room probably every hour of every day, like because I just was like, all right, just get this done, go back, and I can kind of. But no, on the field, that's like you said, that's the tough part that I think it's part of learning of being professional is that all right, like maybe if it's not the circumstances I wanted, but as soon as you step on the field, you have to go out and train as hard as you can and be a good professional and do all the things that you're asked because it's only going to look bad on yourself if you go and you throw a strop and you're like, oh, I don't want to be here because like everybody talks, every manager talks, every player talks. So, even if I didn't stay at Reno and I wanted to go somewhere else and a manager calls Ian Russell at Reno and asks like, oh, what's Will like? It's only going to reflect on how you've been kind of thing. But nah, bro, like you asked me, bro, if you check my DoorDash bill when I was in Reno, it probably was in the thousands, bro. Like I ordered foods. I didn't, that might be an exaggeration, but bro, I did not leave my room at all. Like literally, because I was like, I didn't want to be there, kind of thing. And it was, it was so quick. But nah, it was good, honestly. Like I think it was just the circumstances at the time. Like it was mentally, I was not in the right place. But on the field, it was good. Like my loan spell did all right. So.
Okay. So now you've played college and you've tasted how it is in the MLS with FC Dallas, and now you've played for like Reno, Cincy, like let's say in like the championship. Talk to me, what are the different levels? Like how can you best describe them?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one because I guess I'd say like, every player has their own idea, but I mean, for me, the time I wouldn't say there's too much different in terms of like a lot of players from USL can go and play MLS
Yeah.
and vice versa. There are a lot of players in the MLS that you would put them in a USL team and they wouldn't be like any better than what's in, you know what I mean? So like, I think there's a lot of like between like, okay, most MLS teams, like the first 11, like there's some like quality players, like really good players, but that like maybe like 15 to like 20, maybe 20 to like 30, like interchangeable in my opinion, like because it's just I think that the difference is the age. You're gonna have a lot of older guys in the USL because they're the guys that are a bit more like the journeyman and maybe haven't been given the chance in USL or MLS and they've dropped down or whatever. But yeah, I think I would say like if you're talking like your Velas and your Michael Pratt, those guys, like, yeah, obviously they would come and boss like the USL. But I think the general gist of a lot of like you can take a lot of players from the USL and they could go and easily do well in the MLS and like be regulars and stuff. I just think it's what the MLS team is looking for or like the age wise. And I think a lot of MLS teams too, like are not really, they don't really want to take a chance on an older USL or like domestic player because they know that they're going to ask for more money if they're older than maybe like a draft pick or like a younger player that's going to be on league min, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it's like skill wise, like, you're always going to have your top tiers, but a lot, like, I've known a lot of USL guys that have signed MLS, or like MLS guys that have dropped down to USL, and that's the level is kind of like, not really that different. You know how it is, like, over here, like, it just, football means like way more. You know what I mean? Like, so much more, like, because obviously you have promotion and relegation, but then over here, like, people like actually care about the club, and like there's like a lot on the line. Like, if you make Europe, or if you're like getting relegated, like, you're either going to be loved or hated, and it kind of like makes you want to not play rubbish and stuff. And I think in this league too, there's a lot of like really good footballers, and obviously like the physicality of the league is like much higher than the USL. Like, you're getting tackled over here and it's just a play on, whereas like, you get like yellow carded in the USL. Like, oh man, like, first game here, like, oh my goodness, I got absolutely rattled, and I was just like, and the ref was like, play, get on with it. Like,